Want to speak real German from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at GermanPod101.com.
Hi everybody, Anja here. Welcome to Ask a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common German questions. The question for this lesson is, what is the difference between Entschuldigung, Entschuldigen Sie, and Entschuldige? Let's start from the beginning. The verb entschuldigen can be literally translated as to take away the guilt, with die Schuld meaning the guilt. This means you're asking the other person to free you from feeling guilty for whatever you're apologizing for. Both Entschuldigung and Entschuldigen Sie, which are formal, and Entschuldige, which is informal, are used to apologize to someone. Entschuldigen Sie und Entschuldige are the imperative of entschuldigen, which means to excuse, and Entschuldigung means apology. While both expressions can often be used interchangeably, a conversation between a parent and their child might go like this. Entschuldige dich, apologize, to which the child will reply Entschuldigung, meaning apology, or more naturally in English, sorry. Entschuldigung can often stand on its own as an apology, but Entschuldigen Sie or Entschuldige often need another sentence to explain what you're apologizing for, such as Entschuldigen Sie, dass ich zu spät war, which means excuse me being late, or Entschuldigen Sie die Störung, meaning excuse the disruption. Entschuldigen Sie is formal, so this would be used at work, for example, when a colleague disrupts a meeting or, very politely, simply before asking a colleague a question. Another common phrase is Entschuldigung, das wollte ich nicht, meaning apologies, I didn't want that to happen. This can be used in many situations, and the das wollte ich nicht implies that whatever you did was an accident. This phrase can be used for anything from apologizing for dropping a plate at home to apologizing to your boss for breaking your computer at work. It's usually used when your mistake was noticed by another person and that person makes you aware of what you did. Another example is ist entschuldigt, which directly translates as he's excused. This is commonly only at school when parents write a note for their children when they are sick. Their absence is then called ein entschuldigt. In casual situations, for example, if a friend is a few minutes late, many people would just shorten this phrase by saying Entschuldigung. For example, Entschuldigung, ich stand im Stau, which means, sorry, I was caught in traffic. Increasingly, people also say just sorry in very casual or friendly situations. If you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. Tschüss, bis zum nächsten Mal. Bye, see you next time. Hi everybody, Anja here. Welcome to Ask a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common German questions. The question for this lesson is, what is the difference between wohnen and leben? Wohnen and leben can both be translated as to live and are often used interchangeably in German. For example, you could say, ich wohne in Deutschland or ich lebe in Deutschland, and both would mean I live in Germany. However, wohnen is only used when talking about your current living situation and might be closest to the English verb to reside. For example, ich wohne in einer Wohnung in einer Wohngegend means I live in an apartment in a residential area. Wohnen and Wohnung, which means apartment, have the same origin. The verb leben can be used to express this too, but is also used in the more literal sense, like lebt, which means he's alive. Let's do some examples so you can see how to use wohnen and leben correctly. In this sentence, ich wohne in Berlin, which means I live or reside in Berlin, wohnen is more commonly used than leben because it's talking about your address. However, both verbs are possible. The sentence, meine Katze ist sehr alt, aber sie lebt noch, which means my cat is very old but she's still alive, uses the word leben because it's talking about the physical state of your cat. Here is a sentence that uses both leben and wohnen. Ich habe ein Jahr im Ausland gelebt und in einer WG gewohnt. This means I lived abroad for a year and resided in a share house. When referring to an experience such as living abroad, leben is commonly used because it usually implies the experience of living rather than just where your address would be in that foreign country. However, when discussing the actual living situation, we used wohnen to talk about the share house, which in German is a WG or Wohngemeinschaft. When in doubt, the verb leben is a safe bet, as it always fits whenever you want to express to live. Wohnen, however, can only be used when expressing living in the sense of residing. It's more commonly used than the English verb to reside, though. Do you have any more questions? Leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. Tschüss, bis zum nächsten Mal. Bye, see you next time. Hi everybody, Anja here. Welcome to Ask a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common German questions. The question for this lesson is, what is schon in German and how do I use it? Schon literally means yet or already, such as hast du schon gegessen? Meaning have you eaten yet? Or es ist schon spät. It's already late. It's a really common German expression. Idiomatically, it's often used to make a statement friendlier or add emphasis. Let's do some examples so you can learn how to use schon correctly. A sample sentence would be es ist schon okay, which simply means it's okay. Like you would say if you were forgiving someone who has offended you. It would be possible to use the sentence es ist okay, but this might seem a bit short and distant. You can think of it as saying it's okay, it has already been forgiven and forgotten. Another example is schon gut, which literally translates to already good, it's okay, or apology accepted. This can be used as a response to someone apologizing for a minor mistake. For example, schon gut, mach dir keine Sorgen, which means it's okay, don't worry. If you're still upset about the situation, you can use the more curt schon gut, which applies, okay, let's not talk about it anymore and move on. You can also use this phrase, schon besser, which literally means already better. You may hear this, for example, if you receive feedback on something like a project or a report, make changes, and then present your changes to your teacher or boss. In this case, they might say, schon besser. This can come across in different ways depending on how it's said. A slow curt schon besser, emphasizing the schon, can come across as better but not good enough. But a friendly oh, das ist schon viel besser sounds much more uplifting and positive and can translate as oh, this is already much better. If you want to step up your German game a little with your friends, you can use the phrase die Sache ist schon gegessen, which literally means the thing has already been eaten. It's an idiom that actually means a negative incident has already been forgotten. Try using it the next time one of your German friends apologizes for something. One last insider hint is be careful not to confuse schon with schön, with an umlaut over the O. That means beautiful. Do you have any more questions? Leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. Tschüss, bis zum nächsten Mal. Bye, see you next time. Hi everybody, Anja here. Welcome to Ask a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common German questions. The question for this lesson is, what are the different versions of ein and eine, and how do I use them? Ein and eine are indefinite articles, like a and an in English. You can also use these articles for the word one, but only when you're counting. For example, ein Hund, one dog, or eine Katze, one cat. They shouldn't be confused with the actual number for one, which is eins. Ein is used for masculine and neuter nouns. One man is masculine, so it would be ein Mann, while one house is neuter, so it would be ein Haus. Eine is used for feminine nouns. Eine Frau, for example, would be one woman. The indefinite article changes according to the case of the noun. There are 4 cases: nominative, accusative, genitive, and dative. If the noun is in the nominative case, the articles are ein in masculine and neuter and eine in feminine. For example, es ist ein schönes Haus, meaning it's a nice house. If the noun is in the accusative case, it's einen masculine, eine feminine, and ein neuter. An example would be, ich rufe einen Kollegen an. I am calling a male colleague. If the noun is in the genitive case, the articles change to eines, masculine neuter, and einer, feminine. For example, es ist das Auto einer Freundin, meaning it's the car of a female friend. If the noun is in the dative case, the articles change to einem, masculine neuter, and einer, feminine. For example, das Land gehört einem Unternehmen, meaning the land belongs to a neuter company. The accusative case is the only case in which the masculine and the neuter indefinite articles are different from each other. For feminine indefinite articles, eine in nominative and accusative or einer in genitive and dative are the only options. If you feel like you have a handle on indefinite articles, try this fun sentence. Ich habe einen Hund, eine Katze und ein Meerschweinchen, which means I have a dog, a cat, and a guinea pig. Do you have any more questions? Leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. Tschüss, bis zum nächsten Mal. Bye, see you next time.
Want to speak real German from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at GermanPod101.com.
Hi everybody, Anja here. Welcome to Ask a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common German questions. The question for this lesson is, what are the differences between du, dich, sie, and ihnen? Lowercase du means you informally, and dich means yourself or you as the direct object. Capital Z means you formally, and ihnen is you as the formal indirect object. Let's go over du and sie first. Du is used to address children and teenagers up to the age of 16 as well as family and friends. Sie is used to address adults you don't know well in addition to teachers, bosses, colleagues, and everybody you come in contact with as part of a business transaction. Let's do some examples so you understand the differences between du, dich, sie, and ihnen more easily. The expression freust du dich auf den Urlaub, which means are you looking forward to the vacation, comes from the verb sich freuen, meaning to be glad or to be happy. It's a reflexive verb and the pronoun sich changes according to the subject. For example, ich freue mich, which means I am happy or I am glad. Du freust dich would be you're happy, and freut sich would be he's happy. Freust du dich auf den Urlaub? Is a common question, especially around school holidays. Teachers might ask this to the children in their class, or friends might ask each other if they've booked a vacation somewhere. Another sample sentence is, geht es Ihnen gut? Which means, are you well? This is used to address someone formally and ask how they feel. It's not to be confused with a standard greeting, wie geht es Ihnen? Meaning, how are you? Geht es Ihnen gut would be used if you noticed someone looks like they're not feeling well or might be in trouble. A final example is, gehen Sie, wenn es Ihnen nicht passt, which literally means, if you're not okay with it, leave. This sentence uses both Sie and Ihnen. Gehen Sie is the formal imperative, leave, and jemanden nicht passen, not to fit someone, is a common expression used to describe a piece of clothing that doesn't work on someone. For example, das Kleid passt mir nicht. The dress doesn't fit me. It's also used in non-ideal situations such as morgen passt mir nicht, meaning tomorrow is not good for me. There are two common phrases using du and sie and dich and ihnen respectively. The first one is was machst du, informally, or was machen sie, formally, both meaning what are you doing? The other phrase is wie geht es dir, informally, and wie geht es ihnen, formally, both meaning how are you? Do you have any more questions? Leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. Tschüss, bis zum nächsten Mal. Bye, see you next time. Hi everybody, Anja here. Welcome to Ask a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common German questions. The question for this lesson is, what's the difference between nein, nicht, and kein? Nein means no, and is used in the same way as the English no, such as nein danke, no thank you, or wohnst du in Berlin? Nein, ich wohne in Hamburg. Do you live in Berlin? No, I live in Hamburg. Nicht means not, and is used to make a sentence negative. Ich wohne nicht in Berlin. Ich auch nicht mean I don't live in Berlin, me neither, respectively. Kein is also used to make a sentence negative. However, it's only used before nouns with an indefinite article, such as or an in English, or no article at all. In these cases, kein replaces the need for nicht. For example, ich habe einen Hund. Ich habe keinen Hund, which means I have a dog and I don't have a dog, respectively. The second sentence literally means I have a dog. Let's do some more examples so you can learn how to use nein, nicht, and kein more effectively. Nein on its own is often considered rude, so people add danke in order to make the sentence nein danke, which means no thank you. For example, nein danke, ich habe schon gegessen, meaning no thank you, I have already eaten. If someone asks you if you ever have been somewhere, such as warst du schon mal in Rom? Have you ever been to Rome before? Simply saying the word nein might signal to the person you're talking to that the conversation has ended. So it may be better to say nein, noch nicht, which literally means no, never, so far. With the word nicht, a common expression is noch nicht, which means not yet. It's often the answer to a question containing the word schon, which means already or yet. For example, hast du den Film schon gesehen? Noch nicht. Have you seen the movie yet? Not yet. However, it can also be used to show you're planning on doing something. For example, warst du heute einkaufen? Noch nicht, aber ich gehe gleich. Which means, have you gone shopping today? Not yet, but I will go soon. An example with kein would be, ich habe keine Lust, which is a common expression meaning, I don't want to, or I don't feel like it. It's often used to complain about having to go to work, school, or a similar commitment, such as in, ich habe wirklich keine Lust auf Arbeiten heute, which means, I really don't feel like working today. It would be considered rude to use it as a direct reply to someone asking if you want to do something. In that case, it would be better to say, ich fühle mich nicht nach Arbeiten heute, which also means, I don't feel like working today, but implies that it's because you don't feel well. If you feel like you've got it and really want to challenge yourself, you can use all three in the same sentence with this phrase. Nein, ich kann nicht, ich habe keine Zeit, which means, no, I can't, I don't have time. Do you have any more questions? Leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. Tschüss, bis zum nächsten Mal. Bye, see you next time. Hi everybody, Anja here. Welcome to Ask a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common German questions. The question for this lesson is, what is the difference between lowercase z and capital Z? Z with a capital S means you in the plural, and Z with a lowercase s means she, singular, and they, plural. The German language has a formal and an informal way of addressing people. The formal address is used when speaking with adults, excluding family and friends, and is used in everyday life. It's often used with your colleagues at work and always in business situations, such as between a customer and a sales clerk. The informal address is used for children and young teenagers up to the age of 16. Let's do some examples so that you can learn how to use capital Z and lowercase z correctly. In this sentence, sie geht jeden Tag einkaufen, which means she goes shopping every day. Sie is capitalized, therefore it means she. It's also at the beginning of the sentence. The third person singular geht is from the verb gehen, which means to go, so there is no confusion that the proper address is she. Now take the sentence, sie gehen oft zusammen in die Stadt, meaning they often go into town together. Here, sie is only capitalized because it's at the beginning of the sentence and means they. As this is a statement, not a question, it's clear that it means they, despite using the same conjugation gehen as the formal sie. Another example is, gehen Sie heute früher nach Hause? Which means, are you going home earlier today? In this case, the sie is the formal you and is used to ask a person a question. Here, the listener has to pay attention to the context. If someone was pointing at a group of people leaving the office and said, gehen Sie heute früher nach Hause? It would mean, are they going home earlier today? But if they're looking straight at you, you know they're asking about you. It could also be used in a statement. If your boss sees that you look sick, he or she might say, gehen Sie heute früher nach Hause, meaning go home earlier today. An interesting fact is that when two people, excluding two young people in a social setting like school, university, a party, meet, the younger person has to wait for the older person to suggest using the informal du instead of the formal sie. If you're feeling confident about the differences between sie and sie, try this tongue twister. Sind Sie sicher, dass sie begleiten soll? That means, are you sure that she's supposed to accompany you? Do you have any more questions? Leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. Tschüss, bis zum nächsten Mal. See you next time!